Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. This is Gauntlet Legends on the PlayStation 1. And this was an attempt to drag the Gauntlet franchise kicking and screaming into what was then the new generation, which obviously now is an old generation. But as you can see, it looks quite substantially different from the old Gauntlet games. What you'll notice first of all is the fact that it's gone into sort of a pseudo 3D looking type environment. Now that's really the major change. The typical Gauntlet gameplay rules, shall we say, still applies. Keys, locked doors, treasure chest, death running around, guys to shoot, generators to get, monster generators to destroy, food to pick up, treasure to pick up, blah de blah de blah. They have, attempted to include some more features, some sort of more questy type things. But yeah, I mean, essentially, this is Gauntlet. There's more magic powers to be had now, and there's sort of slight variations in the quest too. There's a few more traps. There's the considerable more variety, which you would expect. I mean, although essentially it is Gauntlet, you still at the same time want there to be a difference. You get to play as the usual characters: the warrior, wizard, Valkyrie and elf, and they all have different power focuses. Like the elf and the magician are a bit more magical focused, where the Valkyrie and the warrior are a bit more fight focused. And yeah, as I say, it pretty much uses the same set of rules, shall we say, as the original Gauntlet. The weird thing is, and this was something that I think afflicted many PlayStation games, is the camera. It's sort of a weird... it's sort of always set at a weird angle, and it doesn't always serve the game well. It seems to try to be dynamic all the time, as if it's trying to show each particular part of the level or part of where you're going at its best. But it doesn't always work, and this was the case for a lot of PlayStation games. It always used to annoy the hell out of me, as to why there's death. Just send him packing with some magic. Always used to annoy me, going back to the camera, as to why they did this. The camera should always be there. If you're going to have a dynamic camera, and by that I mean a camera that moves all the time, so wherever you go, like you can see, the camera's like adjusting itself all the time. It should always be set to show the action at the best of its ability, and not what necessarily looks to be the most interesting camera angle. And this is a flaw with Gauntlet Legends. It doesn't render the game unplayable, thankfully, but it does make it kind of annoying sometimes to play, because you can't always see what's just off screen, and there could be a monster generator that's just off screen, but the game is selected to move the camera into such a way as to try to make it look as good as possible. When you look back and you think, God, these games look as rough as hell, it probably wouldn't have been a good idea to have had the camera as dynamic as they have done. It probably would have been better to have made it more functional. And it is a kind of a lesson that they did learn ultimately, that you do have to make camera angles much better than they are. That said, as I say, I still quite enjoy playing the game. It's kind of a novel approach. It focuses more on a hub type system than previous Gauntlets, where you just relentlessly went through each level. This has a hub system which you go back to. Whenever you complete a level, you go back to this centralized hub, and then you can choose to go and play the next level, or you can go back to levels, more importantly, that you've already completed. And this is the treasure room, which is very similar in concept and in theory to the treasure room before. Again, it's kind of done in this weird 3D, and the camera's flying all over the place, which, you know, sort of adds to the difficulty rather than anything else. The treasure room's nowhere near as big as it used to be, but again, the game sort of moves at a much slower rate. So, you know, with the new sort of graphical style comes this slowness and lack of immediacy, which makes doing simple things like negotiating the treasure room a bit more seat of your pants. Am I going to make it? Am I not going to make it? In this case, I made it. So, yeah, this is Gauntlet Legends on the PS1. I probably haven't done a very good job in terms of describing whether the game's good or not. I don't think. I tend to have focused a bit on the more critical sides of it. It's pretty good. It's not the best Gauntlet game that I've played, but it is still pretty good. It was a bold attempt at trying to do something different with the Gauntlet franchise and try to keep it relevant in an age really where the main shift and focus had gone to 3D gaming. It wasn't a brave attempt to keep Gauntlet relevant, and I kind of like that. I like the Gauntlet series. They were really important games for me back in the day, and I always enjoyed playing them. I have to say though that although I think this is a pretty good game, I didn't enjoy it as much as I did playing the original Gauntlet games, and this is the main reason. It's this boss battle here. Now I know I'm doing something wrong, and I know that I need to be doing something different, but I just found this virtually nigh on impossible to do. Now, as I say, I know I'm doing something wrong, I know I need to be doing something else, but I mean, it's certain attacks that the dragon does, like that attack there. I don't know how to avoid it, and ultimately just end up dying repeatedly. And yeah, that kind of spoilt things a bit for me. I will go away and figure out how to defeat the dragon, and believe me, if you can pick up the game cheap, it is worth checking out, but it's not fantastic. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos to come.